Buddy, how are you?
Good to see you all. I'm Joe Biden. I'm Joe Biden's husband and Libby Gittenstein's friend. Thank you all for being here. Mark, we reserved a room for you. I figured that you'd like something this opulent. We have here. Look, folks, thanks for giving me a chance to say a few words today about one of my best friends in life, a fellow who has been my friend, my advisor, my confidant for 40 years. And I can say the same for Libby as well. I can't tell you, well, I look out there and see people like Liz Sherwood and others they know, and Ron Clay and others, they know my incredibly deep respect that I have for the Gittensteins, but all the years that I worked with Mark, I constantly learned. And one of the things I learned and observed was that, Tip O'Neill used to say, all politics is local. It's far be it for me to correct such a great man, but all politics is personal. And it's all, as Jeff knows, based on trust. All is based on trust. That's what gets things done in life, but particularly gets things done as matters relating to public interest. And as happy as I was to, I didn't have to suggest, well, actually I did. Mark didn't want to be the best. I strongly suggested that he would be great at it. And there was a guy at the time who was President-elect Barack Obama who felt as strongly as I did that his skills would be incredibly valuable to us overseas. What most people don't know in terms of trust and confidence is that first time around, as we were putting together the cabinet after we had won in that interregnum period, we spent an awful lot of time, the President and I, in Chicago, working 13 hours a day or more for real, and 50th or 60th story of a big office building out there, putting together the government. And at the end of the day, there were always 6 people who sat at the table with the President where every single decision he made was made in terms of who he would ask to join the cabinet and what would be his priorities in the first 6 months and the first year of our administration. And Mark sat at that table. Mark was there every single day, along with 2 other of my very good friends, Ted Kaufman and Ron Klain. And so the degree of trust and confidence the President had in Mark was demonstrable. But it did take a little convincing to convince Mark that he should make the sacrifice of agreeing to be overseas for 4 years. But I must tell you, as pleased and as happy as I was that he was in Romania, which, by the way, those of you who are just a very informed audience know, at that period, Liz Sherwood probably knows, but anyway, at that period in our relationship, Central and Eastern Europe were very much the center of our concern and our focus, and dealing with stability in Romania was incredibly important. And but as happy as I was he was there, I am happier that he is home. For a number of reasons. I have him available to me again in a way that I can rely on his judgment again. He knows there's no way out, but Ron knows there's no way out. But also, he's decided to keep this place in Rehoboth Beach. Jill and I are very happy about that. Sarah, his beautiful daughter, is a great actress and I was told today, the very good news, when he was in Romania, Jill and I were staying in the North Shores at a home nearby Mark's, which he was renting while he was in Romania for the summer. And Jill and I went by and stood in the driveway and had a photograph taken of Mark's home and sent him a note saying, "All's well, we're enjoying it." And so I have it on my mantle in my office, that picture of Jill and I in front of Mark's home. We received the best news today. They said, "We've decided we're not selling it." So that's another reason why I am so excited. Jill and I are so excited that Mark is home. And you know, there was a Romanian artist who once said, "To see far is one thing, going there is another." Mark is one of those people that I've worked with who both sees far and, quite frankly, always get there. He knows how to get there. And whether it was in the early days working with Sam Ervin, or whether it was working with me in the Judiciary Committee and dealing with, as Chris Schrader will know, the board hearing and other important things, Mark always figured out how to get there, to get to the right place. But you know, the thing that, and I apologize for speaking longer than I should, but this is one of my closest friends in life. The other thing I knew that I don't think anyone necessarily expected, but I knew, is we were sending a team. We were sending a team to Romania. A team. And, you know, some of you who are in the Foreign Service know full well that back when I was leading the Foreign Relations Committee, I introduced legislation insisting that the spouses of ambassadors be paid. Because in effect, they are limited from being able to engage in their profession. Almost every circumstance, the spouse, male or female, is equally as accomplished, equally as bright as the ambassador. I mean, literally, not figuratively. And there's no way when you are in an important post overseas, particularly when you're in a country in transition, where the spouse is able to say, "No, I don't do that. I don't do it. I don't want to be engaged." And Libby embraced from the beginning a 40-plus hour week job, not just in managing the household, but reaching out into the Romanian community. And if you know Mark and Libby, and all of you do, they reached out in ways that went beyond their role as ambassadors. They reached out. The thing that motivates both of them to engage in public service, and Libby in nursing, is looking out for people who need help. Looking out for people who need help. And Mark and Libby didn't hesitate to reach out into the Romanian community in almost an unofficial capacity to speak up for those people within Romanian society that needed help. Which didn't surprise me at all, surprised some of your colleagues. It didn't surprise me at all. And so, you know, it's and Jill and I had the advantage of seeing Libby's hand when we visited Romania, when I was going through Central Europe. The way I judge people based on how they treat people who are allegedly, quote, as they would say, of a lower station. The one thing is, Jeff knows, remember, anybody who ever went to lunch with me and snapped their fingers at a waiter for some service, I made sure they didn't continue to work for me very long. I think I'm joking. I watched the way in which people who make any embassy run, who are the nationals of that country, I watched the respect they had for you, the way you treated them, the regard in which you help them. And it matters. It matters a great deal. So, Mark, to both you and Libby, thank you for helping us build a much stronger relationship with a country that remains important to us. Thank you for helping, quite frankly, the Romanian government work through some very difficult times. Mark is one of those ambassadors, not rare, we have some great ambassadors, who literally, the government officials or opposition would come to him to see if they could, in fact, negotiate, in effect, a transition. Mark has a commodity that will serve him well when he does when he comes home, served him well in his private practice, served him well in the Senate, and served him well as an ambassador. Everyone who knows Mark completely, thoroughly trusts Mark. Trusts Mark. And I would trust Mark with my life. And so it's a great honor to welcome you back, whether it's making sure that the Romanian forces in Afghanistan that were being devastated by IEDs had access to MRAPs to radically reduce their casualties, or it was seen to it that ordinary people you ran into in the street were treated well. Thank you for your service. Glad you're both back home, and as I understand the protocol now, I'd like to present you, Libby, for all your service.